students, today we'll discuss about spanning tree protocol. Okay, so before we start with spanning tree protocol, we should know about redundancy. So this is a picture which shows redundancy. So redundancy means, see, from PC1 to PC4 example. Okay, we have two path. One is via S2 S1 PC4, another one is via S2 S3 S1 PC4. So we have redundancy. Redundancy means we have more than one physical path from source to destination. Source is PC1, destination PC4. Advantage is if any one path is fail, okay, any one path failed means I can use another path. Okay, this is advantage of redundancy. Problem is they will form, if both paths are there means they will form loops. Okay, layer 2 loops will be formed. Those switches will be broadcasting frames and they will make loops. To avoid this looping, we have spanning tree protocol. Okay, to avoid this looping in redundancy, a layer 2 network, we have spanning tree protocol. Okay, so what the spanning tree protocol will do, as a diagram shows, okay, they will make any one port as blocked temporarily. Okay, so here this in S2 we have two ports. We block F02 temporarily, and whenever the main path is down, see, now when I block this port, the packets or frames will go only from S2 to S1 PC4. They will not follow this path because this is blocked. Okay, so what is the advantage is whenever the main path is down, this port, this path is down means now this temporarily blocked ports, no, they will be now activated and the frames will go through this path now. So in any case, we will not have a situation where the frames are not forwarded. As frames will be forwarded. If the main path is down, then we'll go for the blocked port. No, that which we temporarily blocked will be activated now. The packets or the frames will go through this path. Okay, this is STP. For that, we have four steps. Okay, elect the root bridge, then elect the root port, elect the designated port, elect the blocked or alternate ports. Okay, first thing is elect the root bridge. Out of these three switches, S1, S2, S3, I have to choose one switch as root bridge, or we call it as master switch, or we call it as mudir switch. In Arabic we'll call mudir, right? Like this, one switch will be chosen as root bridge. Others will be called as non-root bridge. Root bridge and other one will be, other switches will be non-root bridge. And in any topology, layer 2 topology, right, only one switch will be root bridge, others will be non-root bridge. Okay, Mr. How do we choose one switch as root bridge? There is a election happen. Okay, there will be an election happening. BPDU, bridge protocol data unit, they will be sending this BPDU frames between switches. Okay, and the switch will have bridge ID. The bridge ID contains priority value, MAC address and extended system ID. Okay, every switch will have bridge ID. The one which has less bridge ID, okay, they will be considered as the root bridge. Okay, so how do we choose a bridge ID? It contains three things: bridge priority, extended system ID, MAC address. Bridge priority means the priority value will be all switches start from 0 to 61,440, increment by 4096. Yani first one 0, next will be 4096, next will be 4096 plus 4096. Okay, incrementable. Now the default priority value is 32768. For every switch, the default priority, bridge priority is 32768. Extended system ID means I will add a decimal number along with the priority. So example, if the priority is 32768, I will add plus 1. It will become 32769. So here 1 is a decimal number we added. Okay. MAC address. So usually we choose a switch as a root bridge based on priority. Okay. If the priorities are sorry, if the priority of all switches are same, then how, Mr. You will choose one switch as root bridge? I will choose based on the MAC address. Whichever switch has lowest MAC address, okay, I will choose it. Okay, so remember why we are using spanning tree protocol: to avoid looping in redundant network. But Mr. What is redundancy? If there are more than one path to reach a destination, we will call it as redundancy. Advantage is if one path is down, I can choose another path. Problem is in layer 2 switches, this redundant protocol, redundant topology will form layer 2 loops. Okay, avoid that looping. I need spanning tree protocol. So what I will do in that protocol, I will make one port as blocked port and it will be temporarily blocked, and when the frame is moving through the main path, this will be blocked. Whenever the main path is down, now I will enable this, activate this temporarily blocked port. See, this path is down means the frames will have to go through S2, S3, S1, PC4, because this port I will now activate block to unblock. Okay, for this spanning tree protocol I have 4 steps. One is elect the root bridge. Yani, among these 3 switches, one switch will be the Mudir bridge or the leader. How do we choose? Based on bridge ID. Bridge ID contains priority, extended system ID, MAC address. Okay, so first go with this step. Okay, then we go for root port selection, elect designated port, elect alternate. This later. First thing, elect the root bridge. Okay, so I'll go for the example. This is an example. Okay, how do we choose the root bridge? Okay, so I'll make this slideshow. Okay, so here we have how many switches? Yes, Khadija. One, S1, S2, S3. Okay, 3 switches. Now in this, how do we find the root bridge? So I told you we have 2 things. Priority, it contains extended system ID. Okay, so priority plus extended system ID equal to priority. That is 32768 default means +1, 32769. This is priority is there. Then MAC address value. So all these three switches, see, they have priority value, MAC address value, priority value, MAC address value, priority value, MAC address value. So first condition is when the switch, while you are choosing the root bridge, okay, which switch has lowest priority number. See the priority number here, it is 32769, 32769. This one has 100. The switch with lowest priority value will become root bridge. Switch with lowest priority value will become root bridge. Here I will not consider MAC address because first important should be priority. If priority is there, see, all switches, 2 switches are same priority, but third one has lesser one. So this will be the root bridge. Okay, see the answer. This is the root bridge because this switch has the lowest priority compared to 32769 of S1, compared to 32769 of S2. Lowest priority is S3 switch. So this is the root bridge. Okay. Next one, identify the root bridge. Okay, there are again 3 switches. Okay, so S1, S2, S3. See, all 3 switches have priority same 32769, 32769, 32769. Then Mr. how do we choose root bridge? You have to find the root bridge based on the second one, yani MAC address. Okay, if priorities are same, you have to compare the MAC address. So here MAC address 111, this S2 222, example S3 333. Among these 1 2 3, which one is lowest MAC address? 111. So this S1 is the root bridge in this topology. See, S1 is root bridge. Tamam? Omar, tamam? Yes. Now, in this topology, again S1, S3, S2. See the priority. Here 32769. Here 32769. This one 24577. This is the bridge or switch with lowest priority, Mr. This will be the root bridge. Yes, Mohan, that's correct. Mr. Sulaiman, Abdullah, Firas, correct. Okay. Then also here S1, S2, S3. See, I am just doing the first step. First step in spanning tree protocol is identify the root bridge. Okay, so here also priority is 100, lowest one, remaining are priority 32769. So higher priority, don't take that. You want to go for the priority number less one. Okay, so this will be the root bridge. S1 is the root bridge which has priority number 100 compared to 32769 for S2, S3. This is a root bridge. Okay. Now this one, now you know, right, how to find root bridge. Let's see one more example. Is there? No, I think. What about here? Is there? Let me check one more. Okay, see here. We have 4 switches. Okay, S1, S2, S3, S4. See the bridge ID is 32769. Priority MAC address is 555. Here bridge ID 24577. MAC address 333. Here also 32769, 32769. So the bridge switch with lowest priority is S1 because it has 24577. This is the root bridge here. Okay. Again here, two switches S1, S2. The priority 100 here. This is 32769. So S1 will be the root bridge. S1 will be the root bridge. Okay. Here also same. See the same answer. Okay. The S1 is a root bridge and the other switch will be non-root bridge. Okay. Non-root bridge. Like that. I think that's all. Now we go with another second step. Okay. Second step is okay. Go for the second step. Second step is elect the root bridge. Now you all know what is root bridge switch. Okay, the switch with lowest bridge ID. The priority value you should check. If priority are same, you have to go through or you have to consider the MAC address. Lowest MAC address which is the root bridge. Other switches are called as non-root bridge. Okay, so root bridge is the switch with lowest priority. Other will be non-root bridge. Okay, non-root bridge. Now second step in spanning tree protocol is elect the root port. Third one, elect the designated port. Fourth one, elect the blocked port or alternate port. So elect the root port. Root port yani first thing, the ports of non-root bridge switches closest to root bridge based on the cost of link. Okay, so there are two in this case. I'll show you one example here. In this switch, okay, we have one root bridge, the other two are non-root bridge or not root bridge. Okay, I have to find out root port, then designated port, then alternate or blocked port. First I will consider root port. Okay, Mr. What is root port? Check this. There is a example also they given. See, root port yani the shortest path from non-root bridge to reach root bridge based on the cost. See, in this topology, S1 is root, S2, S3 are non-root bridge, not root bridge. So from these two switches, what is the shortest path to reach root bridge? Okay, that is based on the link cost. So here we have one more thing to check. Okay, the cost of the link. See here I put that cost of the link here. If you are using 1 gigabits per second GBP, okay, gigabit cable, the link cost will be 4. If you are using 100 Mbps fast Ethernet cable, the link will be, the cost will be 19. Okay, the cost of the link for giga will be 4, fast Ethernet 100 Mbps will be 19. So here in this topology, as I told you, root port yani the from the non-root bridge, what is the shortest path to reach root bridge based on the link cost. So here from S2, see from S2 I can reach S1 via two way. One is through S3 S1, other is direct S2 to S1. Okay, now see the cost. It is 1 Gbps, yani all cables are 444, cost is 4. If I choose this path, only 1, so 4 is the cost. If I choose this path, 4 plus 4 8, so from here 4, from here 4, so I need 8, but I will choose this one, shortest one. Okay, so for S2 the shortest path to reach root bridge is this path, so this is my root port, this is my root port. Okay, for S3 to reach root bridge, the shortest is this one. So because this is 4 cost, this one is 4 plus 4 8, so this is root port of S3. Understand, root port means it will be available only for non-root bridge switches. So from non-root bridge, which path is shortest for you to reach the root bridge? Okay, based on the cost of the link. Okay, so here S2 has two port, one this side, one this side. If I go through this side, root bridge can be reached in one hop, or we call it as the cost is 4. So this is root bridge. If I go through this port, I need cost 8. The cost will be 8. So I will not choose this. For S3, this is the shortest path to reach root bridge. So this is the root port. Okay. See here. For S2 and S3, this is root port. RP yani root port, because this is the shortest path to reach root bridge. Okay. Now, Mr. What is DP and BP? Okay. So here, designated port and blocked port, that is BP. DP means designated port. That means ports of a root bridge are designated port and non-root port of non-root switch. Okay, see here, the ports of a root bridge. The root bridge has two ports. That is always DP, designated port, because the root bridge no need to find the shortest path to reach root bridge, because it itself is root bridge. Then why, Mr. you need shortest path? That's why there is no root port for root bridge. They have, if your switch is root bridge, means their ports, how many ports are there? All the ports of root bridge will be DP, designated port, not PP, DP, designated port. And for non-root bridge, whichever ports are not root port, they will become DP, designated port. Okay, for switch S2, one is RP. Okay, another one will be the another ports which are not root port will become designated port. So for S3 also, usually this will be designated port. Okay, BP I'll tell you later. Okay, so for root bridge, whatever ports are available for root bridge, they are called as designated. Today Suleiman asked me, Mr. why the root bridge has only designated port? Because root port yani the port which is shortest to reach a root bridge. For root bridge, I don't want any shortest path, because I am the root bridge. So I don't want anybody to come back to me. No, I don't want me to again come back to me. Right? So root bridge, no root port, no blue port, no block port. For root bridge, only designated port. And for other switches, yani non-root switches, the ports which are not root ports, say I have a root port here, other one will be designated. For S3, one is root port, other one will be designated port. But Mr. why you write block port? I'll tell you. Okay, usually the ports of a switch which are not root port is designated port. So here usually we have two designated port. So what happens if we have two designated port here? They will form loop. That's why to avoid that, I want to make one port as blocked, so that the packets will frames will not go through two path. They will go only this two path. Okay, so S2 to S1 this path, S3 to S1 this path. They will not choose this path, because if you choose this path, they will become loop. So what I will do, one I will make DP, one I will make BP. BP means blocked port. Mr. which one you will choose blocked port? How I will know which is blocked port? Okay, consider S2, S3. Here assume that two are DP, right? So S2 has one root port, means another will be designated port. S3 has one root port, means another must be designated port. So why, Mr. how you make one as block port? What I will do, I will conduct an election again. Okay, so S2, S3 now. Comparing S2, S3, priority is same, 32769. See the MAC address, here it is 222, here it is 333. So this is the lowest one. So this will become the master now, any temporarily in between these two. Okay, now this port will be DP, other one will be blocked, because their MAC address priority or the bridge ID is more, because MAC address is more here, because of priority same we take MAC address less here, means this will become DP, other one become BP. So the ports will not, the frames will not go through this path, because it is blocked. So frames will go from S2 to S1 this way, S3 to S1 this way. Okay, this will be blocked because this is creating loops. Understand? Now another example. This question. This is the root bridge. We already know. So root bridge yani the two ports of a root bridge will be root but designated port. Okay. For a root bridge, there is no root port, there is no block port. For root bridge, the ports will be DP, designated port. Okay. After that, what about S1, S2? Okay, S1, the shortest path to reach S3 is this one. Okay, so this will be root port. For ST, S2, sorry, S2, the shortest path to reach root bridge is this one. So S2, this is root bridge. For S1, this is root bridge. Are you clear? So root port, sorry, not root bridge, root port. For root port, yani the ports connected to root bridge, shortest one. So from S1, the shortest path to reach S3, the root bridge is this port. This is the root port. For S2, this is the shortest path. So this will be the root port. Okay, see the picture, the answer. See here. For S1, this is the root port. For S2, this is the root port. For S3, both are designated port, Mister. Why, Mister? Because Suleiman, again, this is root bridge. Root bridge has only designated port. Close your eyes and write DP for root bridge. Open your eyes and see what is S1. S1 is connecting to S3. This is the shortest path because this is 4 cos. If you go through like this, we'll get 4 plus 4, 8. This is the shortest path. So this will be the root port. For S2, this is the shortest path to reach S3. That's why it is 4 because that's why the root port is this one. Now both will have designated port. Okay. So the ports which are not root port are designated. So S2 will have this one. S1 will have this one. But I have to choose any one as DP. Another one will be blocked. So what I will do? Compare S2, S1. Check the priority. Mr. Same. Then what about the MAC address? This has 222. S1 has MAC address 333. So Mr. This is less. The S2 MAC address is less. So this will become DP, designated port. This will become blocked. So this is blocked. Nobody will go through this one because this is designated. This is blocked. Okay. So this will be the path. So root port, designated. Designated port. This is block port. Okay. Now next question. So which one is the root bridge? Identify the designated port, root port, block port. Okay. See here, priority are same. 32769, 32769, 32769. Then Mr. What you will do? Open your eyes, Baba Abdullah. See, MAC address of S2 is 1. MAC address of S1 is 2. MAC address of S3, 3. So, which one has less priority? S2. This will become the root bridge. Okay. Now check. A root bridge. What is a root bridge? S2 is a root bridge, Mister, because priority less. Okay, MAC address is less, priority is same. So bridge ID, this one has the lowest bridge ID. Now, designate. I told you for root bridge, close your eyes, Abdullah. Write for root bridge, both are designated. You can easily write. For S1 and S3, these are the non-root bridge, yani not root bridge. See, from S1, this is the shortest path. This is the shortest path to S2. So this is my root port. From S3, this is my shortest path. So this is root port. Now for S1, this is designated. S3, this is designated. Now I need to find out one port which should be blocked because I cannot have two designated ports. What happened? It will become a loop. So what I will do? I'll compare S1, S3. S1 is 32769. S3 also 379. But priority MAC address is 222 for S1. MAC address of S3 333. So this is less. So this will become DP. This will become blocked port. Yes. Now this one, see here, this is a root port, root bridge. That means these two will be designated. Okay. Then for S2, this is the root port because it is directly connected. Okay. And the cost, this is fast Ethernet, means cost is 19 per cable, cost is 19. If I go through this way, it will be 38, 19 plus 19. Okay. Now for S3, this is the shortest one. So root port. Okay. So root port for S2 is this one, FA0 bar 1. S3 is FA0 bar 1. Now S1, both F0 bar 1, F0 bar 2 are which one? Designated ports. Okay. Now what about the blocked port? Compare S3, S2. These two. Okay. These two are designated ports. What will be the blocked port? Compare S3, S2. We need to check the which one? MAC address. It's not given here. Okay. That will be discussed in some other slides. Okay. I think they didn't give that which one? MAC address. That it's there means I could check, no, so leave it that one. Go for this already they choose, but how they choose, they didn't give the MAC address. Okay, like this there are so many other things. See here another one, S1, S2, S3, 4. Okay, where is the root port? So root port means this is a root port because 2577 2457 is the priority. So both ports 0 bar 1, 0 bar 2 are designated ports. Okay, Now for S3, this is root port. For S4, this is root port. S2, we have this root port. Okay. How you choose one as which one? Alternate one as designated. Compare S3, S2. S3 has priority FFF. Sorry, MAC address for FFF, and S2 has AA compared to F5 and A is high. So choose this as designated. Other one is block. Okay. What about this one? Priority 100, MAC address 111, priority 32769, MAC address 222. So this will become root port. This will be the non-root bits. Okay. What about the root port and designated port? Okay. For S1, both are designated. You know that. For root bridge, both are designated. See here, for S1, both are designated port. What about root port and the bridge? Which one? Designated port or block port. Okay. So see here, one will be, see the S2, I will take one. Okay, which cable? I have two cable. Okay, the cost also same. So both are fast Ethernet. Cost is same. So which one I will take? Consider the port number. See, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Which port number is? We have S2 two ports. Okay, 3 and 4. Which port number is less? 3. So this will become root port. Another one will become block port. Understand? Here in this is a special case where identify the blocked port based on the highest port number in the root bridge. Okay, so the port number, this is the highest one. This is non-root bridge actually. Okay, so this is the highest one. So don't take this. Take this as root port. Okay, like this there are many examples. Okay, go through that. I'll give you more examples in the class. Okay, this is what I have to discuss about a spanning tree protocol. Okay, hope you are clear in this.